The electric dehumidifier sitting in your basement right now draws between 300 and 700 watts of electricity every hour it runs. It costs between $200 and $400 to buy. It has a filter that needs replacing, a bucket that needs emptying, a compressor that will fail in 7 to 10 years. The Amish farmhouse I visited last month in Holmes County, Ohio, has no dehumidifier. Not a broken one, not an old one. None. Never had one. The humidity in that house in August, when Holmes County sits at 80% outdoor humidity, was 44% inside. I checked it with the same hygrometer I carry to every property I visit. 44%. The woman who lives there showed me what she uses instead. A jar. A $4 jar of something you can buy at any grocery store. And it has been keeping that house dry since before her mother was born. Before I show you what it is, I want to say something directly. If you have a basement, a bathroom, a closet, or any room where the air feels heavy and damp, subscribe right now and give this video a like before we go further. Because this channel exists to show you the $4 answer to the problem that a multi-billion-dollar industry has decided you should solve with a $200 appliance and a monthly electricity bill. Subscribe now and stay with me, because the history of how this disappeared from American homes has a specific year and a specific company behind it. Here is what the science is. Every material on Earth has a different relationship with water molecules in the air. Some materials repel them, some materials ignore them, and some materials have a chemical affinity for water that causes them to actively pull moisture out of the surrounding air and hold it. Scientists call this hygroscopic behavior. You already know what it looks like. It is what happens to your salt shaker on a humid summer day when the salt inside clumps together and stops pouring. The salt is pulling moisture out of the air through the holes in the lid. That is not a design flaw. That is 4,000 years of chemistry working exactly as it should. The Amish simply took that same chemistry, scaled it up, and put it where the problem was. Rock salt in an open container absorbs moisture from the surrounding air. When humidity rises above approximately 75%, a 2-pound container of coarse kosher salt, or rock salt, will absorb up to half a liter of water per week in a highly humid environment. You can see it working. The salt at the bottom of the container begins to dissolve into the water it has absorbed, forming a brine. When that happens, you pour off the liquid, rinse the container, and add fresh salt. The total replacement cost is $2 every 6 to 8 weeks. That is the entire maintenance requirement of the system. The second material is activated charcoal. The internal structure of activated charcoal is a network of microscopic pores so dense that 1 gram of it contains between 500 and 1,500 square meters of internal surface area. That surface area absorbs water molecules, organic compounds, and odors simultaneously. Unlike salt, charcoal does not dissolve, it saturates. When it has absorbed its capacity, you place it in direct sunlight for 2 to 3 hours. The heat evaporates the moisture, restores the capacity, and the charcoal is ready to use again. A $4 bag of activated bamboo charcoal lasts 2 years with that simple monthly maintenance. Not 2 years before it needs a new filter. 2 years before you replace it at all. Now, I want to tell you the story of when this disappeared and why. In 1864, the United States Navy Seamanship Manual described the use of coarse salt in bags and open containers for humidity control in wooden ship cargo holds. The document is in the National Archives. Sailors who crossed the Atlantic understood that moisture destroyed wood, rope, food, and equipment. And they used salt because it worked and because nothing else was available at sea. The USDA Farmers Bulletin number 212, published in 1905, recommended coarse salt in open containers for humidity control in grain storage and root cellars. That recommendation went to every farming household in America that requested it. It was standard knowledge. It was in the government document. In 1955, the Fetters Corporation launched the first mass-market residential electric dehumidifier in the United States. The marketing campaign that followed used language that should be familiar to anyone who has watched this channel. Passive methods were described as inadequate and unreliable. The electric appliance was positioned as the modern scientific solution. Within 15 years, the salt bowl that had been in American farmhouses and cellars for 200 years was gone. Not because it stopped working, because a company with a product to sell decided that your not knowing about the alternative was worth more than your knowing about it. The dehumidifier industry now generates $8.2 billion per year globally. A 2-pound bag of rock salt generates about $2 for a grocery store. The math of why one of those facts is common knowledge and the other is not requires no further explanation. The Amish in Holmes County never received the Fedder's marketing materials. They kept using what worked. In every home I have visited in that county, the pattern is the same. Wide-mouth glass jars or ceramic crocks filled with coarse salt in the corners of bedrooms, inside closets, under bathroom sinks, and in the cellar. Bags of activated charcoal hanging in enclosed spaces where airflow is limited. The combination handles both bulk moisture absorption and fine odor and compound removal simultaneously. Holmes County sits in one of the more humid parts of Ohio. The interiors of those homes in August feel like a different climate than the air outside. Because they are. She told me something I have been thinking about since I left that property. She said the house breathes. You just have to let it. She did not mean it as philosophy. She meant it as instruction. The house has openings. Air moves through them when you allow it to. The salt handles what the air movement cannot. Together they manage what a 300-watt compressor, running 12 hours a day, manages for a family in Savannah. Without the electricity bill, without the replacement filter, without the service call when the compressor fails in year 8. Here is exactly what you do. For any room with a humidity problem, basement, bedroom, bathroom, or closet, get a wide-mouth container, a mason jar, a plastic bucket, a ceramic crock. Fill it with coarse rock salt or kosher salt. Do not use fine table salt. It dissolves too quickly and becomes liquid faster than it absorbs effectively. Place it in the corner of the room, inside the closet, or under the sink. In high humidity environments, you will see results within 48 hours. The salt surface will begin to look wet. That is it working. When the salt at the bottom dissolves into visible liquid, empty the liquid. Rinse the container. Refill with fresh salt. Cost per replacement, $2. For enclosed spaces like closets and cabinets, add a bag of activated bamboo charcoal alongside the salt. The charcoal handles the odors and finer moisture that the salt misses. Place the bag at the back of the shelf. Every 30 days, put it outside in direct sun for 2 hours. That is the entire maintenance schedule. For a 3-bedroom house with a humid basement, 2 bedrooms with moisture issues, and a bathroom that fogs up, 4 salt containers and 3 charcoal bags. Total setup cost, $28. Annual operating cost, $30 to $36 in salt replacement, versus 2 electric dehumidifiers at $250 each, plus $300 per year in electricity. You do that math. I have already done it. So has every Amish woman in Holmes County for the past 200 years. Tell me in the comments what state you are in and what your worst humidity problem is. Basement, bedroom, bathroom, closet. Because placement matters, and I want to give specific answers to specific rooms in the next video. And if your grandmother kept a bowl of salt somewhere in the house and you never understood why, I want to hear that. Because she knew exactly why. She just never felt the need to explain what had always been obvious. Subscribe, because next week, I am going to show you the $3 mixture that permanently eliminates mold from any surface. Not cleans it, eliminates it. Using a combination the EPA registered as antimicrobial in 2008, and that the $8 billion mold remediation industry has spent 16 years hoping you would never connect to a $3 jar at the hardware store. I have the EPA registration number. I will show you exactly where to find it.